Where am I? I have no memory. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast. Probably an egg and cheese on a ciabatta roll with a cup of coffee, cream, and sugar. But how have I come to this endless hell forest? Which is actually kind of lovely. Whatever I was doing in my previous life, I'm certain I would prefer this. Let's go eat some mushrooms and see what happens. Okay, so now I remember how I came here. This is a single biome only world, dark forest, which made me think of the Black Parade, which immediately made me decide that this would be a very emo series. That's my whole train of thought there. On that note, let me tell you really quickly about the playlist, this playlist that I stumbled across. The Minecraft soundtrack, but if it were a Midwest emo band like, I don't know, Christie Front Drive, Promise Ring, The Get Up Kids, American Football. Am I aging myself as an ancient emo? Oh, the link's in the description. What do we know about the lovely hell forest? Well, a lot of trees, a lot of animals, no villages, so no villagers again. But there are ways, secret ways to get villagers. I'm pretty sure ruined portals and mineshafts generate in this biome, so there will be some loot from those chests, and that'll be pretty helpful. And finally, this, the Woodland Mansion. We'll cover it soon. Right now I need food and shelter. Honestly, I'm just going to stay up here on top of the canopy. This is where I spawned, and it's actually pretty safe. I can dig down for wood and also for food, like so. And well, this is honestly a great way to travel, at least for now. The first day should be a piece of cake. Woodland Mansions. These places are rough for early game players, but if you're careful, you can handle it. I am not very careful, ever, so I have a plan B. I'm going to set the whole thing on fire. This is how I deal with my problems. The loot in these things is pretty terrible, but there are some items that I can only find here now that I'm in a dark forest only world. I think you can find melons, beetroot, and allays. I could find totems of undying if I were actually fighting the evokers, but I am not because I am a coward. I want to turn the remains of the mansion into a base. I know that a lot of folks have converted woodland mansions, or WMs, as we're going to call them from now on, but have they converted the charred skeleton of a WM into something beautiful? I doubt it. And there's an old church in my town that burned down like 100 years ago, but they kept the foundation and some walls and turned it into this really beautiful... Look, I'm going to just show you a video of it. All right, so this is the park that I'm talking about. It's not the greatest part of town, and this is kind of what I'm thinking of for the build. It's like, this church was burned down and they turned it into this park. Kind of nice. I've always wanted to build something like this in Minecraft, so I guess here we go. I begin exploring the mansion while it's still burning. I can assure you I am not in danger. These chests are all empty, but I like not having to make chests for my storage system, so we'll build our starter base right here in the ruins. Before I go any further, I need villagers. That means zombie villagers and witches. And by witches, I mean a nether fortress. To find nether wart for weakness potions. I should have just said weakness potions. And here they are, the villagers of my dreams. These morons will give me some valuable items that I otherwise cannot get, namely the enchantment books. And I make a crop farm. Time to clean this place up. Eventually I want to remove all of the original wood, just leaving the cobblestone skeleton, like the park you saw earlier. I use fire to help. Again, I can't say this enough. This is how I deal with my problems. Oh look, an old friend has paid me a visit. Hello, Exit Flagger. Well met. Yeah, it's the stranger. How did he find me? Anyway, he has acacia saplings, and that is amazingly good. One day while mining, I found this massive cave directly beneath my base. There's a lot to explore here, and not one but two exposed skelly spawners. Just a ton of resources and enough room for some potential builds. I love big caves. So the cramped, weird little shack that my villagers were living in, that's not going to cut it. I decide to make a proper trading hall, and you might notice that I have wings. Yeah, I speed ran to the elytra. I have to admit I'm happy with this little build. It's kind of nestled in the ruins. I like the colors. I begin terraforming around the perimeter, just to make the ground completely flat. Eventually I'm going to put up the walls, walls and fences to keep mobs out. And you can see here I'm beginning to map out my final base on the other side of the mansion's foundation. I move all of my stuff over here. I have a much better storage situation and plenty of room to expand. I begin making the ground paths through my mansion base. I'm removing a few layers first, and then I'm using bricks and granite for the paths. Remember, it's a park, so most of this will be green eventually with a lot of custom trees and so on. This is such an important part of the build. Mapping out the general pathways of your base helps you, it helps with your building decisions. It makes your decisions become that much more clear. Here's how I want to treat the outer walls. Just connecting these cobblestone frames with the arches. I also have to remove all of the glass. Using Silk Touch, I might need this later. By the way, does anyone know why glass is harder to break than cobblestone? I'll leave the top floor roughly how I found it. Very little alterations. Just a single wall up and some lanterns. Mr. Stranger Danger is back, and he has spruce. That is fantastic. Must buy crap. He's floating away back there, isn't he? Now that the lawn/garden is nailed down, I build a proper building around my storage space. I like this block palette. I've used it in the past. Finished the outer walls of the mansion. Simple. Glass fences along the bottom for a modern element. Of course, they don't really keep anything out. So, I think it's time for us to build my final home, my final base. And I need to connect it to these structures up here so that it makes sense. And I'll probably come and add some supportive structures here, maybe something up here. Basically, okay, these are ruins that have been sort of salvaged and turned into this beautiful park/Minecraft base. And I want to have some of the old ruins and then like newer structures that are sort of helping kind of support the ruins. And I gotta we got to do that here, make it a little more realistic in terms of, you know, the laws of physics, for instance. But so far, I think this outer wall is looking pretty good. I like the treatment. I like my little park here. The lamps are okay. Yeah, they're pretty good. I actually kind of like the design. Let's do it. I'm going to jump right into a quick time lapse here, and we'll see what I build. With the house finished, I move on to custom trees. I begin by planting some actual Minecraft trees in the spots where I want to build my customs, and it just helps me visualize their placement in the overall build. I've stripped the bark from this one, Smooth Tree. I also use fence posts and green glass panes to give the illusion of like the smaller branches, because trees taper up, they taper down as they go up into like these thinner branches. But of course I don't have branch blocks. That would be kind of sweet. The overall shape of the trees could be manicured a little bit more since it's a park, but I like being kind of chaotic with leaf placement. I think I'm all done, honestly. The trees look great. I like these kind of wild looking trees. They have a certain shape to them that feels correct to me. There's even a custom birch up there on top of my house. So I think I'm done with the dark forest biome. There is so much more, obviously, that we could do with this build. Just this framework up here. I mean, I could have continued this and made some sort of structure here. I could have put a structure on top of the cobblestone here. All of this is from the original build, the original mansion, all of the cobblestone. But there's so much I could have done still. Some auto farms up here. There's just so much space to make things. I don't know. I think in my regular survival, vanilla survival Minecraft, if I come across a woodland mansion, I think this is going to be the appropriate way of tackling it. I never did excavate this geode, or the one, I found a few of these. Yeah, the cave system below my base is pretty epic, and I wish I had done a little bit more with this. I mean, I think there's still a lot more to explore down here, which I've never really gone up there. I haven't really checked out the mine shaft over here. Other than lighting it up a little bit. There's just so much I could have done with this cave system. It's right beneath the base. I don't know. You could do something interesting with this, I think. So what did we learn? Nothing really. I was just being emo in a dark forest for a little while, and my experience here has come to an end. I think I've done everything I want to do. And now I'm kind of anxious to move on to a longer series again. I kind of want to start a new vanilla survival series. That's going to happen after the next update. So this summer, I'm going to start a new series, and I might not put out another video until then. I'm going to take a break. Anyway, I sound exhausted. That's kind of emo, being exhausted all the time, right? It's emo. Happy emo craft. Okay, I'm getting out of here. Goodbye.